Hi, how's it going? My name is Lintel Shin. I'm the general manager of Pabu in Boston. I've been with Michael just right about 8 years now. So we're really excited to be a part of this company and excited to be here.
All right. So what is your current mastery of the floor?
I would say that my current mastery of the floor would definitely be service. Just taking care of our guests, making sure that everyone feels special, and that our team is really embodying the spirit of hospitality with everybody that comes in.
How many positions do you feel confident working, and which positions would you say are your strongest?
I think I feel very confident working almost all the positions, with the exception of probably two, just not being as confident, which would be being the sommelier on the floor, as well as being behind the bar. But I think that if I were to pick my strongest position, it would definitely be a server.
All right. What about your least strong position?
Yeah, in the least strong positions, again, just with the sommelier and behind the bar, I think it's mainly just because I haven't practiced that as much and I just don't feel as confident as I would taking care of our guests.
What skills do you want to develop, enhance, or work on?
I'm always looking to enhance the skills that I don't feel very confident with. So I'm always trying to get more involved behind the bar, more familiar with the product, as well as wines and the sake that we have available, so I can really master that part of my craft for service.
What do you think is the most important position on the floor, and why?
I think the most important position on the floor would be a server. They have the most face time with the guests, they have the most interaction, and I think that it's very important that a guest has that type of connection, that type of go-to person in a restaurant, which is usually done through the server.
What do you do to stay motivated? How do you keep yourself developing?
I like to stay very involved with the community, the industry as a whole, whether it's newsletters, articles, books, social media. I think it's very important to stay involved, be a larger part of that community and that family, but also to stay relevant with what's going on.
Are you currently reading any wine, food, or service books?
Actually, I'm just about to finish Charlie Trotter's Lessons in Service. That's actually a book that I try to read about once a year. I think it's a nice refresher, even though it's things that I may already know or have experienced. It's just nice to kind of keep fresh in my mind and as a small reminder for things.
What restaurant or hospitality trends do you find interesting or inspiring right now?
I think right now the most interesting thing to follow is just social media in general. It's taken such a wide platform and expanded the exposure of what we do in restaurants and who we're exposed to and just how fast and intense that information is coming at everybody is, I think, a very fascinating thing.
What restaurants or hospitality professionals or chefs do you follow on social media?
Right now, big ones that I'm fans of following are Rene Redzepi of Noma, 11 Madison Park, and the chef Daniel Hume. What I really like about 11 Madison Park's and Daniel Hume's Instagram feeds anyways is that they really showcase the life of staying healthy outside of a restaurant, which I think is very hard to do. Something that I think also Mina Group does very, very well is just ensuring that there's a balance to taking care of ourselves, because it's hard that when we work service, we want to go out for a drink and maybe wouldn't necessarily go to the gym or eat as healthy as we want to because we're strapped for time. But it does serve as a nice motivational reminder to have that balance, in our lives.
Describe the perfect service.
The perfect service, I think that's kind of it's a very hard question because to me, I don't think there's anything as a perfect service. There's always things to work on, but I think ultimately, if I had to sum up a perfect service, is if 100% of the guests that walk into the restaurant on any given night leave happier than they walked in. And that's what I would constitute as a successful service.
How does a leader influence what you just described?
I think it's very important that a leader is very in tune with what's going on, is there to hear the needs of his team members so that he's able to help and support them so that they can execute that level of hospitality that's expected. And also just understanding the level of positivity that a leader has to embody in order to execute something like that, because for everyone to leave happier than they come in, you have to be able to have a very positive environment. And sometimes the hustle and bustle of what we do is not the happiest thing to handle in terms of all that stress, but keeping that attitude is very important.
What are the steps or measures that you need to get to that perfect service?
I think preparation is the biggest element of it, is knowing exactly how many people are coming in, how many more people are you projecting to come in on top of the reservations that are there, going through the reservations so you know which VIPs, which special requests, anniversaries, what table they're going to get, which server you're going to put with those reservations, and just having a game plan going into the service is always the most important element of reaching that goal.
What's the standard timing for the following steps of service? Table greet,
Table greet, which should be within 1 minute of the guest sitting down.
cocktail order,
Be within 5 minutes of the guest sitting down.
cocktail delivered,
Within 5 minutes of the cocktail being ordered.
order taken,
About 10 to 15 minutes, depending on which restaurant.
appetizers on the table,
About 8 to 12 minutes.
entrees on the table,
Another 8 to 12 minutes.
desserts on the table.
About 10 minutes.
Describe the expediting system in the restaurant in detail. Why the table checker such an important position?
So the expediting system here at Pabu actually, I think, is very unique in some compared to our other restaurants. Essentially, almost everything that's sent into the kitchen is considered an order fire. So I think that the kitchen team does a very, very good job handling that amount of tickets in a very short amount of time, which I think is very unique to do. Because at any given time, every station can have 10 to 15 things going on. So it makes it very difficult. We do a omakase menu, which is essentially our tasting menu that has courses from the hot kitchen as well as the sushi bar. So the table checker in this instance has a very challenging role because they have to communicate between two different parts of the line. And should that communication break, or a course is missed, or an allergy is not communicated, or God forbid any other detail is missed, obviously there's a very large gap, and that's where we can run into a little bit of trouble.
Describe the daily manager meeting in detail.
So the daily manager meeting is another one of those steps of preparation that we take every single day with all the managers in front of the house and back of the house that take place. We go through our numbers from the service before, any notes, VIPs, QSAs, comps, and anything that was relevant from the service prior, and things that we want to take into the following service. And we also review all the reservations for the coming night, as well as for the next day. It's also time when we review notes that we want to cover with staff members, things that we want to review in pre-shift, and then also go over our BEOs for the next coming couple of days.
What is your understanding of the daily responsibilities of a general manager, AGM, and restaurant manager?
I think the daily responsibilities, let's say top 3 for a general manager, would be coaching and development, driving grassroots and marketing initiatives, and then thirdly would be having a general oversight of the daily expenses, accounting, payroll, things that take a little bit more of an admin toll on the operation. For the assistant general manager, I think the number one thing would really just being aware of what's happening for that day in terms of the reservations and who's coming in, how many people are coming in, and that translates to the staffing level for the restaurant. Is there an appropriate amount of staff on? And then I would say the third thing would be to ensure that all of the staff members that are coming in are set up for success, and also setting themselves up for success through, again, preparation of side work, supplies, mise en place, things of that nature. And then I would say for the restaurant manager, I think the number one thing would be to make sure that they feel comfortable with the service. So knowing what's going on for the day, maybe not necessarily making the calls for staffing, but reviewing what's going on at the door, who's coming in, and touching base with each one of the team members so that he can communicate to either the AGM or the GM that we need more supplies if needed, or someone's not here, so what changes they should make. And then lastly would just be to get very involved with service itself, is making sure that all servers feel comfortable, that they're sticking to our standards, and also floating around to the different departments to making sure that they need help, or if they need help, that they're getting the support they need.
What is covered during pre-shift, and why is it important to the success of service?
Pre-shift is very, very important. It sets the tone for how all team members are going to go into the service. We always start off with a greeting so that everyone feels that energy together. We go over a quote of the day, just an inspiring thought to get everyone on the same page. Review everything from covers, VIP reservations, any significant events or parties, BEOs that are going on, food changes, beverage changes. We also usually incorporate a for-your knowledge aspect for food, but as well as for beverage, just so that the team's always staying refreshed. And then we also have a kind of daily quiz section where we ask 4 random questions that involve everything from service to food to beverage.